My husband said he was on a business trip, so I sent him a surprise gift. The woman who answered shocked me. The box wasn't supposed to come back. That's the part that still keeps me up at night. It was a simple cardboard box, wrapped neatly with brown paper. Tied with a ribbon, I thought looked elegant. I sent it from Portland to San Francisco, just a small surprise for my husband, Ethan, who was away on a business trip. Inside were his favorite things. Dark chocolate, that cedarwood cologne he liked, a handwritten note, and a framed photo of us from our anniversary dinner. I even sprayed a little of my perfume on the tissue paper before closing the lid. Something to remind him of home, of me. He was supposed to be gone for 4 days, attending a marketing conference, staying at the Grand Regent Hotel downtown. He told me he'd have client dinners every night, and that his schedule would be packed. I believed him. Why wouldn't I? Ethan was the kind of man who color-coded his calendar and got anxious if a meeting started 2 minutes late. But lately, something had shifted. He'd been quieter at home, more distracted. When I asked how work was going, his answers were short, polite, mechanical. And then there was the perfume on his jacket, last month definitely not mine. He claimed it came from a client's hug at a networking event, and I tried to believe him. Tried to silence the unease that crawled under my skin every time his phone buzzed, and he turned it face down. So, when he left for this conference, I decided to do something sweet. To remind him of the life waiting for him back home. The hotel's concierge had been kind when I called. She confirmed his reservation and promised to place the box in his room before he returned from dinner that evening. Everything went smoothly. I even got an email confirmation with a photo of the delivery receipt. For a few hours, I felt better. I imagined him walking in, seeing the care package, smiling, maybe calling me to say thank you. But around 11:45 that night, my phone pinged with a notification from the courier company. Return initiated. Package received back at origin. At first, I thought it was a glitch. Packages get scanned wrong all the time. But when I checked the tracking number again, my stomach dropped. The return address wasn't the hotel's, it was a residential building in downtown San Francisco, completely different from where he said he was staying. And the sender's name wasn't Ethan's, it was a woman's. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments about which country you're watching this video from. Enjoy the story. I stared at the tracking page, the screen's glow flickering against the darkness of my living room. Sender, Melissa Hart. Address 221 Pine Street, San Francisco. Melissa Hart. The name meant nothing to me, but seeing it, then it an official made my heart slam against my ribs. I reread it again and again, hoping it would make sense. Why would a woman be sending my package back? Why wasn't Ethan's name anywhere on it? I tried calling him. Straight to voicemail. It was almost midnight, and I sat there gripping my phone, trying to convince myself there was a reasonable explanation. Maybe he'd changed hotels last minute. Maybe Melissa worked at the conference, and she was helping him return it. Maybe, no, something was wrong. The next morning, Ethan finally texted, "Sorry, long night with clients. Everything okay?" No mention of the package. No mention of my calls. No picture of him holding the gift I'd sent with so much care. I replied, "All good. Just wanted to check in." "How was dinner?" He wrote back, "Fine, exhausted, heading into meetings all day. Talk later." That was it. 7 words, and my gut told me I was being lied to. I looked up the address, 221 Pine Street. It wasn't a hotel. It was an apartment complex. High-end, downtown, glass balconies and valet. The kind of place you didn't stay for a weekend conference. I wasn't the kind of person but that morning, I found myself opening a new browser tab and typing Melissa Hart, San Francisco. The first result was a LinkedIn profile. Marketing strategist, Bright Solutions Agency. The same firm Ethan's company had partnered with a few months ago. Her photo showed a woman in her early 30s, blonde, poised, smiling in that effortless way that made you trust her. She looked exactly like the type of woman my husband would charm during a client dinner. I didn't want to believe it. But denial only works for so long before it starts to rot from the inside. By lunchtime, I'd convinced myself I needed answers, not guesses. I called the hotel Ethan had supposedly booked at the Grand Regent. A calm male voice answered. "Good afternoon, Grand Regent. How may I assist you?" "Hi," I said, trying to keep my tone light. "My husband, Ethan Clark, is staying there. Could you connect me to his room, please?" A pause. Typing in the background. "I'm sorry, ma'am," the man said. "We don't have a guest by that name." My throat went dry. "Are you sure? Maybe the reservation's under his company." Another pause. "No record, ma'am. Not under Brightlink Media, either." I thanked him and hung up, my hand shaking. Ethan wasn't at the Grand Regent. He'd lied about where he was staying, and somewhere, in an expensive apartment on Pine Street, a woman named Melissa Hart had touched the package I'd meant for my husband. But the worst part? The courier's next status update appeared later that night. Package delivered, recipient, signed, M. Hart. Which meant Melissa hadn't just sent my gift back. She'd opened it, and she knew exactly who I was. I couldn't stop staring at that line on the courier site. Package delivered, recipient, signed, M. Hart. My stomach twisted as I imagined her unwrapping it, her hands touching the photo of me and Ethan, unfolding the note I'd written in blue ink, reading words that were never meant for her eyes. The idea of her seeing my handwriting, my perfume still faint on the paper, it made me feel sick. I needed to know why. That night, I waited until Ethan texted again. "Long day. Crashing early." I typed back, "Hope you're okay. Miss you." No reply. I opened Instagram and searched hashtag Bright Solutions Conference, the event he'd supposedly been attending. Hundreds of posts appeared from the same San Francisco Convention Center. I scrolled, half reading what I'd find. Then my thumb froze. In one photo, tagged by @MelissaHart_PR, a group of people sat around a long restaurant table. I recognized Ethan, immediately. Same navy blazer, same watch. But sitting beside him, leaning in close, was Melissa. Her hand rested casually on his arm. The caption read, "Another great client dinner with our Brightlink partners." Client dinner. The same phrase he'd used. My heart raced. It wasn't proof of anything physical, but I knew what I was seeing. The body language, the familiarity wasn't professional. Not even close. I didn't sleep that night. My mind spun through every moment of the last few months. Missed calls, late nights, networking events that didn't add up. By dawn, something inside me snapped. I wasn't going to sit at home playing detective anymore. I called in sick at work and booked the earliest flight to San Francisco. By afternoon, I was standing outside 221 Pine Street. The building looked even more polished in person, floor-to-ceiling glass. A marble lobby, the kind of silence that costs money. I walked to the front desk, my palms sweating. "Hi," I said, pretending to be calm. "I'm here to drop off a package for a resident, Melissa Hart." The receptionist smiled politely. "Of course, Ms. Hart isn't home right now, but I can make sure she gets it." I hesitated, then said quietly, "Actually, could you tell me if an Ethan Clark is visiting her?" Her expression flickered for just a moment. Surprise, maybe recognition. Then she quickly looked down. "I'm sorry, ma'am. We can't share information about our residents." I nodded, pretending to understand, and turned to leave. But just as I reached the glass doors, a familiar voice echoed behind me. "Excuse me, do you need something?" I froze. Ethan stood there, wearing the same navy blazer from the photo. A paper coffee cup in one hand, his expression twisting from confusion to guilt the moment our eyes met. He hadn't expected to see me, and I hadn't expected to see her step out of the elevator behind him, Melissa, holding a keycard and wearing one of his shirts. My throat went dry. For a second, no one moved. The three of us just stood there, in the glossy silence of that expensive lobby, while the truth finally filled the space between us. And in that moment, I realized my care package hadn't gone to the wrong address. It had gone exactly where it was meant to. For a heartbeat, the world seemed to stop moving. The hum of the air conditioner, the shuffle of papers behind the desk, everything went silent. Ethan's face drained of color. He looked like someone caught standing on the edge of a cliff with nowhere to run. "Claire," he stammered, my name breaking awkwardly from his lips. What are you doing here?" I stared at him. "Funny, I could ask you the same thing. I thought you were at the Grand Regent Hotel." His eyes flicked toward Melissa, who froze halfway between us, clutching her coffee cup like a shield. She was barefoot, wearing his gray shirt, and her hair was still damp from a shower. No explanations needed. The truth was already bleeding through the cracks. "I can explain," Ethan said quickly, stepping forward. "Then do it," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "Explain why my package, my anniversary photo, my note was signed for by her." Melissa's jaw tightened. "She sent that?" she asked, glancing at him. Ethan ran a hand over his face. "Claire, please, this isn't what it looks like." "Really?" I asked. "Because it looks like my husband's been living a double life." The receptionist behind the counter pretended not to hear. But the tension in the lobby was thick enough to choke on. Melissa finally spoke, her tone sharp. "You shouldn't have come here." I turned to her slowly. "You opened my package. You knew who I was, and you sent it back like you were returning a wrong order. So yeah, I should have come." For a second, something flickered in her expression. Guilt, maybe, but she hid it behind arrogance. "He said you two were separated." I laughed bitterly. "Separated? That's convenient." I looked at Ethan. "Is that what you told her?" He opened his mouth, closed it again, and looked away. His silence was my answer. My voice trembled, but I refused to cry. Not here, not in front of her. "You could have just told me you didn't want to be married anymore, but instead, you lied." Over and over. Ethan tried to reach for my hand. I stepped back. "Don't," I said softly. "Just don't." People were starting to notice. 2 residents entering the lobby slowed down, eyes flicking toward us. The humiliation burned, but underneath it was something sharper: clarity. I turned to Melissa. "Keep him. You'll learn soon enough what it feels like to be invisible next to his ego." Her cheeks flushed, but she said nothing. I took a deep breath and started toward the door. Ethan followed, his voice low but desperate. "Claire, please don't walk away like this. We can fix it. It was a mistake." I stopped and looked at him one last time. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. This was a choice. Then I walked out, leaving him standing in that cold, glass lobby with his guilt and the woman who helped him hide it. Outside, the San Francisco air felt heavy, fog curling around the streetlights. I thought leaving would make me feel free, but instead, I felt hollow, like I'd left a piece of myself in that building. When I reached my hotel room that night, I found a small box sitting in front of the door. No return label, just my name written neatly on top. Inside was the framed photo from my original package. Except now, the glass was cracked straight through the middle, splitting Ethan and me apart. No note, no explanation, just a silent message. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't over. Not yet. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the cracked glass. My reflection split in two. The frame felt cold in my hands, the way metal does when it's been sitting outside all night. I didn't know which was worse, the betrayal or the silence that followed it. Who had left it there? Ethan, Melissa, or someone else entirely? A soft knock jolted me. My heart jumped. I hesitated before peeking through the peephole. No one. Just an empty hallway and the faint hum of the elevator down the corridor. When I opened the door, there was only a folded piece of hotel stationery lying on the floor. My name was written across it, in Ethan's handwriting. I unfolded it slowly. "Claire, I know you don't want to hear from me, but there are things you don't understand. Melissa isn't what you think. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. Please meet me at Pier 9 tomorrow morning. I'll explain everything. Just one chance." My mind spun. A part of me wanted to burn the letter, to let him drown in the mess he'd created, but another part, the one that still craved answers, needed to know the truth. The next morning, the sky over San Francisco was gray and heavy. Seagulls circled above the pier, their cries sharp and distant. I spotted Ethan near the railing, hands shoved into his pockets. Looking smaller than I remembered, he turned as I approached. You came, he said quietly. Make it worth it, I replied. He sighed, his eyes hollow. Melissa wasn't supposed to happen. She was assigned to manage our account. We started working late, talking. One thing led to another. I folded my arms. That's not an explanation. That's a confession. He looked down. You're right. But what you don't know, Ishi wasn't after me. She was after you. That stopped me cold. What are you talking about? She knew who you were before I ever told her. She looked you up. She asked questions about our life, your job, everything. She even mentioned that perfume you used, the one you sprayed in the box. My skin prickled. How would she know that? He swallowed. Because she found the package first. The hotel never got it. She intercepted it from the courier before it reached me. She sent it back to you on purpose to let you know she existed. I stepped back. The cracked glass. The smug look on her face. It all made sense now. I whispered. Because she wanted to destroy us, he said. She thought, if you left me, she'd have me. But, when you showed up, she panicked. She didn't expect you to actually come. The wind whipped off the bay, cold and sharp. I could barely breathe. Do you love her? I asked finally. His answer was barely a whisper. No, I don't even think I liked her. I just liked feeling important again. Something inside me broke, but not in the way it had before. This time, it wasn't pain. It was released. I nodded slowly. Then, this is where it ends. He didn't try to stop me. He just watched as I turned and walked away, the fog swallowing his figure piece by piece until he was gone. Back at the hotel, I placed the cracked frame on the nightstand. For the first time, I didn't see a broken marriage. I saw freedom. The kind that comes from knowing the truth. No matter how ugly it is. I checked out the next morning. Leaving the photo behind, by the time I reached the airport, my phone buzzed with one last notification from the courier app. Package delivered, recipient signed E. Clark. No package had been sent. No delivery was scheduled. I stared at the screen, my pulse quickening. Either Ethan had sent something back, or Melissa wasn't done yet. And somewhere in San Francisco, a story that began with a simple care package had started all over again.